Alongside a lay-by, which used to form part of the old Taunton to Ilminster main road, stands the old Thorn Falcon School and the village poorhouse. Both are now private residences. However, the old schoolroom was still used for parish meetings until the mid-1990s. In any community there are always local stalwarts, and our next piece of video is of just such a person, Judith Jelks, committee member, photographer and fundraiser. She's going to tell us about the upcoming Millennium calendar and her charity work.
We had the idea about doing something for the Millennium, obviously, a couple of years ago. And I suggested then that it would be nice to do a calendar like the WI one, whereby you had information on the top. And on the bottom we've got a postcard that can be taken off and used as a postcard, or can be kept, as the case may be. I think it was Parish Council I gave the original idea to, and we discussed it. And then eventually a Millennium committee was formed, and so I selected slides which I thought would be of interest and took to the committee. And we chose a calendar which had 4 drop-ins, so to speak. In other words, a lot of the slides I've taken were like, I took slides of the Thorn Bridge, which no longer exists, and I thought if we had that as a drop-in, and then the 4-way road as it is now, that it would interest people, various things like that. But because it was rather an expensive occupation, we could only do the 4. So that was decided, and they chose the 4 as they were. But now we've decided that it would be interesting to people to collect as much information as possible and put behind the top part of the slide the information in the back, if possible, tying it up with the appropriate slide at the bottom. I don't know, really. I took photographs as a child and growing up and all the rest of it, but mostly prints then. And then I think it was basically when things started changing and being demolished and what have you, and I said it seemed a shame there wasn't a record. Well, I did a count the other day and I worked out I had about 10,000 actually altogether. But that covers the church. There's one for the village hall, there's one for County WI, there's one for Group WI, and there's one for Institute WI. And then there's one for the elements, that's floods and snow, etc. There's one for changes, which is again is things that have been demolished or things like that, really, you know. That I started ceramics, oh dear, when was it now? Late 1970s, I think it was. I had an accident and I was going to be in plaster for a long time, and I'd lost my family by then, and I wondered what I was going to do, really, because I was housebound. And somebody said, why didn't I try to do ceramics? And so I went across to a friend of mine and learned how to do it, and then I got hooked on it. And since then I have done it for fundraising. I have 2 days a year here, one at Easter and one at Christmas, and then I do it twice a year for the church, one in the summer fair and one at the Christmas fair. And well, I take orders through the year, and I also do it for the WI shop in Marketplace. I can't fire them here because you've got to have a cement floor, which I haven't got. So I have to take them over to Stoke-Southampton now and get them all fired in the kiln. And then I paint them 3 times, get them fired, and then bring them back again. They're in the kiln for 24 hours, 12 hours I mean, and then it's 12 hours before I can take them out because they're hot, of course. And then I have to glaze them twice and then take them back and do them on a higher heat. So I tend to do them in loads, so to speak, because it's an easier way of doing it. And raise money for, the money all goes to Save the Children on twice a year here and to the church. In the summer I do only children's things on basically a pocket money range. And basically it's been really, people said, well, do you do this or do you do that? And I've started it. And then the African violet things, I had an African violet and it died because I've watered it wrong. Discovered it had to be watered from the bottom. So I then had one for myself, and then everybody said, oh, will you do me one? And it sort of ricocheted from there, really. Well, I've done confectionery for the WI shop and Marketplace since 50, 56, something like that. I've always done it for them. And then I started doing it here basically to fundraise, you know. And people seem to like it, but, you know, I do truffles and things like that. And then I found a gentleman who made special boxes for me, gold boxes with the polythene top so that you can see, which makes it look nice, you know. I do a lot of knitting toys and, again, for the children. In the Easter I tend to do things like little ducklings and things like that, you know. And then in the Christmas I do bigger things for them. I also do things like bell balls and those sort of things, you know. And then one day when I'd made a nice stock for my thing, I came in and found my cat on the table having a wonderful time with them all. So then now they get taken for cats and children and everything else, really. I've just made some teddies for the Dorset and Somerset Air ambulance because they appealed for teddies because they wanted to give them to the children when they pick them up from accidents just to sort of quieten them down a bit, you know, so I've just made some of those. I did some for All Safe, you know, the All Safe, the Holcombe Church charity, which deals with children abroad a lot. They go all over the place, actually, Kosovo and all over the place, you know.